Hello everyone. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Roxana Haddadi. I am a TV critic with Vulture. Welcome to Vulture Fest, and welcome to a panel that I am very excited to host, which is our Anatomy of a Performance panel with Cristin Milioti. Can you guys please give her a hand and welcome her on the stage?
Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
Hi.
So, it's fine.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you guys for being here. What we are doing today is we are talking about a character that I love so much and a performance that I love so much, which is Sofia Falcone, Sofia Gigante, the hangman, sort of, maybe,
Sort of.
a little bit.
Yeah.
So what I'm really excited to do with this panel is to ask you some questions about that performance. We're gonna watch some clips. We're gonna ask some more questions. We're gonna do it. But the thing that I wanna start us off with is it's been a week today since the finale aired. What has that week been like for you? Because on my corner of the internet, there are still so many like, I would let her step on me tweets. Like, please burn my house down tweets.
Yeah.
So how has it been for you? How's this week been?
It's been, well, I stay very far away from the internet, but
Honestly, safe
yeah,
bet. Yeah.
but I have been really moved. I've had like a lot of really incredible interactions just out in the world, especially with women, like stopping me and being like, "Hey, I've loved this," and also like it's so rare that you make something that you love and that also people respond well to.
Yeah.
I've been a part of a lot of things that I've loved making, and then no one has seen or everyone has actively hated. So like, or not actively hated, but just been like, "This is crap." Right. So like, you know. That's been really nice, but I've been so. A friend of mine said this thing this weekend where she was like, when it's a mixture of grateful and overwhelmed, it's Groverwhelmed, and I felt like very Groverwhelmed.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's also deserved, right? Like we're all
Thanks.
here because like we loved this show, we loved this performance.
Thank you.
I want to maybe mention some of those things that people actively hated, although
Sure.
I think that you were very good in. Okay, so we have been, and by we I mean you, once.
Oh yeah, people didn't hate that.
Yeah.
No.
They didn't hate that.
Yeah, no, I don't think anything, you wouldn't even find it on the internet. Like
Black
the title.
Mirror, Fargo, How I Met Your Mother, Wolf of Wall Street. It's Martin Scorsese's birthday. Everybody say happy birthday to Marty. Palm Springs, 30 Rock, The Sopranos. So I'm wondering, like, such a varied career.
Yeah.
What did The Penguin offer to you? What did Sofia offer to you that you felt like you hadn't had the opportunity to play yet?
Oh my God. I mean, almost everything. Like, she's, I was so aware of how rare a role like this is. And I've been so lucky to work on so many things with people who I've grown up admiring, and also things that I've genuinely loved and things that I would love to watch, even if I, like wasn't a part of it in some way. But the fact that she gets to go through so much, and also just that, like, I know I've said this a lot recently. I grew up as such a Batman fan, and I had always wanted to play one of the villains in it. And so, like, I also knew when it came to me, or when the opportunity to possibly be involved came to me, I was like, oh my God, I've been waiting for this forever. And even though I was only given that first episode, there was even so much in there that I was like, oh, I hope that I would be able to like show a different side, because I feel very connected to this person, and I love this world so much. So, yeah.
I know that you have talked a lot about like Batman being a big part of your childhood.
Yeah.
What was it about Batman that made that world more appealing than like Superman or X-Men or Spider-Man, like those losers? What was it about Batman that was more appealing?
I love that no one has superpowers.
Yeah.
They only have like their own like pain. And I love that both Batman and his villains are at the end of the day like sewing their own costumes in their apartments or
DIY
or garages. It's like very DIY. And there's something about it. I think there's something about like the vigilante of it all that I always found so compelling, because like we are failed by so many various systems, and you get so frustrated sometimes, and you're like, I'm like, who hasn't wanted to like sew a cape and then like go out? Like I really I don't know. There's like something about it that, for whatever reason, that really moved me. And then I also loved that it was New York adjacent.
Yeah.
I sort of like believed that it could happen because there were no superpowers, and also like everyone was just sort of fabulous, and it was campy sometimes, and it could also be really gritty and dark. But then there was also like incredible humor in it, and so I think. And then I also really love how many different iterations there are of it. Like, I don't know of anything else that has that, where they, like, different actors and different directors and different writers really put their stamp on it, and it becomes like seeing someone do like Othello or like their King Lear or whatever. Like, and I just think that's so cool. And it's been around for like 100 years.
Everyone is tortured. Everyone is hot. Like, these are very important.
Yeah, and everyone is like wrecking it stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Lighting 3 cigarettes in their mouths.
Yeah.
And burning down their familial home.
Yeah.
So you said, I used to pretend to be Batman villains in my backyard.
Yeah.
What villains were you pretending to be? Did you have like specific ones?
Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman.
Obviously.
Was deeply seminal. Yeah, I saw that movie when I was 7, which was wildly inappropriate.
Yeah.
But I remember that I was just really drawn to it. Like, I remember my dad took me to see it, and it really scared me. But like that whole scene where she comes home and she's tearing things up and like drinking the milk, and like I just remember feeling like I was levitating watching that. Like I was like, at 7, like I would not have been able to explain it, obviously, but I was like, I want to be near that. Yeah. And then Jim Carrey's The Riddler.
Why would you laugh?
Just because it's like what,
exceptional
it's so
performance.
Like, yeah, I know, it is exceptional, and I loved that movie, and I loved that soundtrack. And also, there like weren't really, like, the women in that movie get kind of like a raw deal. But like, I mean, Sugar and Spice have cool moments, but they're
Very
mostly
cool.
just like, oh my God. And then they like go to wherever they live, like in Two-Face's house or something. Yeah.
But like Debbie Mazer doing that.
Incredible. And Drew Barrymore. Incredible.
Uma as Poison Ivy.
Incredible.
Like, that era was so much just like women eating it up.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I want to talk about you eating it up, because you do.
Thanks.
So The Penguin was like a long production, right? So it started in March of 23, stopped for the strikes, and then you guys came back in November and then finished in February.
Yeah.
So that feels like a long time for me to be living with one character.
Yeah.
When you think about that time, like, what feelings come back to you about playing her? Like, what emotions? Is there one distinct memory that's like, oh, that was Sofia for me?
I mean, I just was having the time of my life.
Yeah.
Like, not that there aren't intense sequences that are like, you know, maybe longer. They're like longer days, and you go home kind of being like, oh my God. But like, I just had the time of my life. And I remember during the strikes being very frightened that we wouldn't come back, because so many things didn't come back. And we were we were so unbelievably lucky to come back. And just feeling like, oh gosh, I don't want this to end. Or like, it felt like I was like a kid at camp or something.
Yeah.
Like a very dark camp.
Yeah, like the darkest camp anyone has ever.
For sure. Yeah. But it was still, and also like, we got along so well as a cast and crew too. Like, we became, you're shooting like all nights, and it's cold, you're outside in New York, and shooting in New York is also like, there's nothing better. And they're long hours, and they're intense scenes, and we all were so bonded. And so like that too, I was like really nervous about ending. So I just remember a lot of times having to be like, soak this up, like really take this in, because this is rare.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember the moment of hearing you guys were going to come back? Like, what was that moment like?
I do remember I was somewhere when I got a call. Like, it was like a call that they were like, we're back in a week. Like, and then I'd been like living like a complete pork chop for 6 months. Like, just like absolutely feral. So I was like, oh, like, oh no, gotta drink some water.
Yeah.
But I just remember being like really, really relieved and excited and just, because we like live in such an uncertain time.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's why those strikes had to happen.
Yeah.
But we're still living in such uncertainty, and so I was just grateful to be back, but I was so thrilled.
So something that I want to talk about, and we got into this a little bit in terms of like, there have been a lot of Batmans, there have been a lot of Gothams, and a lot of them have come from the mind of men. There's been like Tim Burton, Bruce Timm, Nolan, Snyder, Ayer, Todd Phillips, Matt Reeves. Penguin is Lauren LaFranc, a female creator and showrunner. There are women in this writer's room. I apologize for getting like gender essentialist, but did it feel different to you that this was a project that was coming from a female creator? And if so, how?
Yeah, it did. I think that Lauren, I don't think I will ever be able to sing her praises enough. Like, Lauren is the special sauce, and she... I will also like be just like indebted to her and grateful to her forever for even like like finding this character deep in the sort of like Batman comic catacombs and like resurrecting her. And I just think that she has. I mean, her brain is so special, and I think that the fact that it is also about these women, I just think sort of also expands who connects with it as well, And it has this sort of like, I'm going to talk in like sort of obtuse metaphors, but like there's just this like blood in it, that, and like raw, sinewy bone, and it's also like campy and funny and dark, like, and I think that's all from her. And I certainly felt like this character was given opportunities that, I think a lot of what she's going through is coming from obviously, being dismissed by a world run by men. So I think that's also part of what's so great, I hope, about seeing her like burn it all down, or is that. So I absolutely think so.
Well, the other thing that I love, just to like praise Batman as a universe some more, is like we do get Sofia, we have Catwoman, we have Poison Ivy, like we have all these women that have been dismissed.
Yeah.
And as villains are like, screw this, like I'm gonna do what I want. And so there's also that sort of rebelliousness like baked in to the material.
Yeah.
I know that Lauren has said, she was talking about inspirations for Sofia, and she mentioned Rosemary Kennedy. She said she was deemed the forgotten daughter. In her 20s, her father put her in an institution, and she was given a lobotomy. We don't know what her story was. Did you guys talk about Rosemary, or were you talking about like other real life and fictional women who could inspire Sofia or shape Sofia?
Well, we talked about Rosemary a bit, and then I sort of like stayed away because I just wanted to like focus on what the world was, what this like particular world was. But definitely, I watched a lot about state-run institutions where people are just like locked away for years and forgotten and completely neglected, and what that does to you. And I watched a bunch of documentaries on that and read stuff about it. But I didn't get like attached to any one story. I just kind of like consumed a lot of it. Yeah.
And the other thing like about this show, and I think what people have really responded to, is that like, yes, it's like comic book stuff, but it also is very grounded, right? In like organized crime, mob stuff, mafia stuff. Did you also research that element, or did you think about that part of the story while crafting Sofia?
Yeah, I did a little bit. Like, I definitely researched stuff, and also just I think from being like a person in the world who's watched things, like I'm sure that influenced me maybe like more than I would even know in the ways that things that you grow up with do. But I kind of did try to put blinders on once we started. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to keep asking you like processy questions.
I know, and I'm going to be like squirrely about it.
That's fine.
Yeah, sorry.
You've said of finding Sofia, you worked with a movement coach and you had a playlist. Is there one movement that you felt like unlocked Sofia for you or was most useful for your performance? And then was there like one song or one artist that accomplished the same sort of thing?
I do feel like really trying to figure out the way in which she changes physically. I don't know if there was like one move, but trying to figure out how she shifts physically from someone who's like really held, and sort of like in a Chanel straitjacket, almost, to like someone who is free and skipping, and like that was something that like I really wanted to do good at. I don't know, like land. I don't know, like do. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like where I was like, I hope this works or whatever, because you also like never know how things are going to be edited, or like what's working, or what's you just like swinging wildly. Like there were so many days on this job where I would call friends and I'd be like, I think I might be really embarrassing myself.
No.
Like nobody, because you don't know. Sure. It's so hard to know inside of something.
Yeah.
Like I would watch everyone else and I'd be like, well, I don't feel that way about them. But like it's grounded, but it is also like operatic, which is why I like it.
Yeah.
And then my playlist, it was a lot of Rosalia.
Ooh.
And a lot of SZA.
Okay.
And then a lot of Lana Del Rey. So like that's the vibe, you know?
Are those artists you listen to in your normal life, or were you like, I'm gonna go for bad bitches only on the playlist?
They're artists I'm like obsessed with in my normal life. And in fact, I saw SZA twice last year. Once right before we started, and then I think once like right before we finished.
Yeah.
And Rosalia has like always been. I think that the two of them are like peak power. Like they're just. I've never seen anyone like them. Their music. I'm just. They're like witches, like sea witches or something. I don't know. I can't believe what they conjure. And yeah, certainly that did help sort of like lock in the sort of like energy we were going for.
And then Lana is so fascinating because her whole thing is like mid-century woman betrayed by men, right?
Yes.
So that's also
very
but fun.
There's also this thing that I think that they share in common. This is also going to be like an obtuse metaphor, is that they're so like, you kind of feel like you can like really like fuck shit up when you listen to them. Yeah. But there's also like this thing underneath that almost feels like a beating of a drum underground, where you're like, oh my God, something like is big is coming. Yeah. Is on its way or something. Like I don't know, they're all like they're pop, but it's also like mystical in some way. I just
There's
love
something
them.
like subterranean.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
Like it's very like terrestrial.
It's very terrestrial.
Being born
it's
of the
very
earth.
terrestrial.
Very terrestrial.
Yeah. But it is. It's very like it's alien, and it's very, but it is earthy too. Like it's
women, you know? Women.
Yeah. Exactly.
Shout out to women.
Shout out to women for being terrestrial aliens. Yeah. For being extraterrestrial. Yeah.
Okay, so I think this is a good way to ask this question. You said something about Sofia that I loved, which is she is someone who has missed pleasure so much.
Yeah.
Clothes, food, sex, it's like someone coming alive again, but it does have to be on her terms. So my silly question is, of those three, clothes, food, sex, did you have one that you thought Sofia was like most amped about getting to experience again? And then the real question is like, how did you work to convey Sofia's pleasure? Like, I know we talked a lot about movement. Yeah. Was that it, like opening up for physicality?
I think it kind of was like different for all of them. Okay. And I don't know if there was like one over the other. I think she's someone who's like very
omnivore.
Yeah. And she's very like, I think part of what I love, one of the many things I love about her is like how unpredictable she can be. And so I think like part of the fun of playing her too is that like she makes decisions in the moment. Not that there's not premeditation for some things, like when she's plotting to find who killed her brother, and but that they can just sort of like, she can just kind of like get taken by something, which I think is like a rediscovering of her senses, especially having been denied for so long. Yeah, and like with her eating, that was like just trying to show, I guess, like if you were eating in places where they could be taken from you, like how you would have to almost like eat like an animal, but you're like in this like beautiful little suit. So that was like always very fun to play with.
There's also this moment, right, where she pours like wine right up to like the rim. Yeah. It's like, do you? Like, I love that.
Yeah.
Like, that's great for her.
That's Lauren.
That's perfect. Yeah. Okay. So then I feel like we have to talk about the clothes.
For sure.
And we have to talk about the mullet. Yep. Something embarrassing about myself is that in college, I was like very obsessed with Point Break. And I still am very obsessed with Point Break. But I took a picture of Patrick Swayze's Bodie to my hairstylist. And I was like, give me the Bodie. So like I saw Sofia's mullet and I was like, absolutely, we should go back to this time.
Yeah.
But can you tell me about the clothes and the mullet and how you fought for that hairstyle?
Yeah, I mean, I felt very strongly about her hair and makeup for sure. And I was so lucky that our department heads were very, very open to collaboration. And so was Lauren. And also, I'd never been a part of a franchise before, so I also wasn't sure how much that would be like welcomed but we were really, I really felt very strongly that I wanted, like something Lauren and I talked about was like, how could you have her sort of begin to be getting closer to who she eventually becomes, using the tools that she grew up with, which was like hair, nails, and wardrobe. Like that's how you would express yourself in that sort of mafia, patriarchal hootie scootie. I felt really, really strongly about that hair because then it could also be taken back when she had to be around them and couldn't be herself. But there was something that was like animal about it. Mm-hmm. And then the mullet later on, which I also really fought for. Like, I just thought that's how that would evolve. Yeah. That like the more that she sort of like bloomed into who she is meant to be, that like that would feel good for her to just like cut at it and have it, and it's also part of her like the way she presents herself like in battle too. Like she walks into a room, you're gonna like sit up if that person walks in wearing what she's wearing and with that like fabulous eyeliner. Like that was also something that we were really collaborated on because we knew like the the like glass on the gas mask, like we kept talking about like what was gonna be seen through that, and knowing that that gas mask was gonna go with that gown, and like it was all so intentional. Obviously, I mean it's always intentional, but like those were things that I felt very strongly about, and the clothes are like outrageous, and the clothes also. Our wardrobe designer Helen Huang is a complete genius, and we had hours and hours and hours and hours of fittings, and I usually really don't like fittings because like you're just like trying on clothes for hours and then getting your picture taken, and then they send that picture to like a boardroom of people, and so every time they're like sell it and you're like okay, and it's like 6 a.m. and like it's crazy.
The worst prom photo shoot in the world.
The worst prom photo shoot in the world. And this felt very collaborative and very much like we were trying to build her armor and as well as like free her too. Like those clothes later on are like so flowy and free and fabulous. Like she's fabulous, even when she's burning houses down and like straight up killing people.
Especially when she's burning houses down and killing people.
Yeah.
It's very Sharon Stone Casino where you're like, oh my God.
Yeah. That's how it felt to film too. Like I just was like the lighting of the 3 cigarettes and that whole outfit, which Helen built. And she designed that whole look, but like putting on that all red, those massive shoes, and with that mullet, like you can't, it just, you feel like a creature.
Yeah.
So cool.
Was there anything you were like, I should steal this?
Yes.
Did you?
Yes. Yeah, I did.
What did you
steal them? I didn't steal it, but I was like, hey, if like it's not, hey guys, like if it's not too much trouble, like could I buy those off you? There's a couple of her shoes that I took with me, because those shoes are like nuts.
Yeah.
And then, but everything else I kind of was like, that would feel crazy to wear.
Would it?
Yeah. Like I would never be like I don't even know where I would wear it.
Everywhere.
But that's crazy. If I show up somewhere in that yellow dress being like, hey, like, that's crazy.
If you had walked on stage in the yellow dress, I think we all would have lost our
Oh my God, no, it would have been like Ellen Burstyn in Requiem for a Dream. You guys would have called 911.
No.
Yeah, no, because I would have been like, I'm here for Vulture Fest. Like, that's not,
Ellen get nominated for an Oscar for that performance?
Yeah.
Like, come on, Ellen.
No, but she wasn't like wearing it out. I don't know. I actually don't know. I can't speak for Ellen. Yeah.
I'm glad that you took some stuff.
Yeah, I took a couple things.
Politely bought some things.
Yeah,
I love that.
Which is nice.
I think that is a good way to get us into some clips.
Great.
We're going to play some clips. I'm going to ask you some questions about the clips.
Okay.
And the first one we have like lightly touched on so far, but it is from Inside Man. It is the pasta clip. But I think we should all experience it and then like discuss it a little bit more.
Okay.
So can we play that first clip, please. Okay. Woo! Yeah, let's clap. You have to clap for it. This is absolutely the moment where I was like, she's my Joan of Arc. I'm gonna follow her into battle. Light me a fire. How did this happen? So my understanding is that it was your idea to eat with the hands, or how did that come about?
I don't remember because this is like a year ago now.
Sure.
There were so many beats that Lauren wrote in the script with food, like especially in the first episode in the restaurant scene where I'm like eating with my, shoving things in. And then this, I think it was in the script, but then I think we experimented with like how much I would use my hands. And then I think it used to be like a smaller beat that then we turned into like a very big thing. So my memory is that it was like, we sort of were like, should we try it? Like it was a sort of together thing of being like, yeah, I should just like, like you're biting into a human heart, but it's like penne.
Yeah. And like, I feel like this, I mean, we laughed, right? Because this is a comedic moment. It is like
for sure
rupturing some of the tension.
Yeah.
So I guess this is maybe like one of those existential acting questions. But like, how do you think your history in comedy affected this performance? Because I feel like you have done comedic things.
Totally.
And so like, did you think about that sense of like comedic timing? How does that work for you and process?
No, I think I just, or like maybe I do in a way that's like unbeknownst to me, or something, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But like I definitely, there were so many moments, like there's a lot of moments when Colin and I, when Oz and Sofia sort of like team up and it almost becomes like a buddy cop film for like a hot second before it goes away.
Yeah.
Like we would make each other, we were laughing so hard and we would like really get, like we like kind of would get like too ridiculous with it. And he's so funny. Like I know obviously he's done stuff that is funny and is comedic too, but like I think he's thought of more as a dramatic actor maybe, but he has that ability.
He's done like In Bruges, he's done that
totally
sort of stuff. Yeah.
And so I think we also like bring those things out in each other a bit, but I'm never like, I would never like walk up to that and be like, this will get him. Like it's totally always like grounded in like what's happening, because I think but that's like comedy too. Like I feel like other actors have said this and it makes me like absolutely roll my eyes, but like, if you have to treat it all as like a drama, you have to treat it all as real or else it's like unwatchable.
Yeah.
And it makes your skeleton want to like crawl out of your skin.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, it was never intentional. It was always like, but I do understand why that's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have like a go-to pasta that would cause you to like go really hard in this way? I ask because as I was watching this, I was like, oh, lasagna, delicious. I should try that.
I mean, I don't think I've ever made a pasta I haven't liked.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I respect that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
I don't like when they put seafood in it.
No, I don't.
Other than that,
I'll
pretty
care
much,
for that.
I'll pretty much jam.
Okay. I respect that. Okay, so what I also love about this moment, and we sort of talked about this before, is like there are very definitive phases to this character. Like when we meet her, it is a decade in the asylum. We then get the flashback when she is like the Chanel straitjacket daughter. And then of course we follow the transformation as she becomes like more free, a little more deranged. How did you guys film? Like were you filming episode by episode? Were you doing blocks? Like
We were doing blocks.
okay, so I'm curious like how you sort of planned that transformation over time. Like did it feel easier because you were doing blocks?
Yeah. I mean, yes and no. Like, because eventually at a certain point, it all becomes like a bar fight, where like episode 4, I obviously like that's like one of the most incredible things I've ever gotten to be a part of, and also you're going through so many time periods, and you only have like 10 days to shoot that. And so in one day you're changed through, because it's like location dependent. That's like what's like good about block shooting for everyone but actors. But and so like in one day you're going through like, oh, here's me at 25, here's me a couple years into Arkham, now it's 10 years later, now I have to go back to 25. And it was mostly just like, it's like a scramble. Like Arkham was shot, all the mess halls, that was like a day, I think.
No.
2 days, a day and a half. Like you are just like shot out of a cannon.
Yeah.
And that's just like the nature of making like television, I guess. Which seems wild. So I would say that like that was definitely a challenge. Like it just kind of felt constantly like I was like a race car that people were running at and being like, we only have 10 minutes, and like, like just like, and like taking the hair off and then putting more hair on and then like putting the thing on and like taking his car off. And like, it was like a lot of that. And you just kind of like, maybe some of it actually ends up turning into like a kinetic energy that's in there because
becomes
you're just
part of
like,
it.
Yeah, I think that there's always an element of that. And it's also like impossible to make anything.
Sure.
Kind of.
Yeah.
And it's the best in the world. But like, so I forget the question.
No, you answered it.
Okay,
You're good.
Yeah.
But I love the implication being like, for Arkham, they basically put us in Arkham.
They kind of did. Well, this is so the woman that directed episodes 4 and 5, Helen Shaver, who is like, I also, just one of my favorite people I've ever worked with. And
Women.
Yeah. And like, she was so incredible. She was an actor first, and that's also really rare, that you are like working with a director who also like understands how like utterly embarrassing and humiliating it can be to be in front of a camera, and the pressure that it comes with, and also like the glory of it too, like all of the sort of aspects of it. And she really empowered, before every day when we had all of our background artists, she would take like 10 minutes at the top of the day and have us all like sit in a circle, and she'd be like, I want everyone here to like think of the character that they are and like think of why they were put in here and what is their ailment or what is their story. And like that is, I can't reiterate how that never happens. Like usually when you're in scenarios like that, I might screw this up, but like usually it's like the second AD who's talking to the background artists and the director talks to like the main cast. I like still don't totally understand. And it's usually like you go over there and then you walk in here and then you have to go in this thing, because that's just like you're up against the wall at all times. And she took this 10 minutes and she was like, I'm just going to roam with you. And like all of us are like, it's everyone in here plays like a very important role in this world. And like to walk through that was like, I still get chills when I think about it. Like it's really, it felt like we were like a company, and so I weirdly felt like I could go, because we're doing like brutals. I mean, I'm getting slammed on the ground, like we're screaming. All that stuff is so real in there. And that wouldn't, I think, have happened in the way that it did if it weren't for her, and how much she was like, and she did it with everyone in that episode. I can't sing her praises enough either. She's just incredible.
Well, I love hearing that it was like sort of egalitarian, because the next clip that I want to play is from the 5th episode. It is from Homecoming, and I feel like it's like a little bit thematically connected to that. So let's play that clip and watch it.
We got a score we need to settle.
Sorry. Bye.
This was my father's, but he made it off of your labor. You did the dirty work, and they kept it all for themselves. If you join me, you will have a new family, and I will pay you what you're worth.
More money than you've ever seen before.
Mr. Gatha?
Go ahead.
I love it. Come on.
It's cool.
It's so good. I'm like Dr. Rush. I'm like, oh my God.
That relationship.
So this is
Yeah.
after fourth episode. You've
Yeah.
done the gas mask. You've done the yellow gown. You've like killed most of your sucky family. How did the blocking for this scene come together? Because I love that you're at the head of the table,
Yeah.
right? So how did that feel in that moment, acting that, being in that position?
I mean, my memory is that it felt so good because I also by then we'd sort of like gotten into a rhythm and we'd filmed a lot of 4 and I also like dare any one of you to walk into a room in a fur coat with a gun and like not feel, and like a sack of cash and like not feel like so cool. And then knowing that moment, and I love Michael Kelly so much. It was like he just like such a joy to work with. Yeah. And I've also just been like a lifelong fan of his anyway. But, I think that moment when she shoots him is so gratifying, even though it's horrific.
Sure.
So many times people have felt in their lives like, let me fucking finish, and he's so like, it's like another level of her just being like, good night. Like, I just can't. And it's like horrifying. And it's also like, I'm sure all of us have felt, again, like not to shoot someone in the head, but to just be like, to have the ability to like snap and have someone like shut up or whatever. Yeah. I also forgot this original question.
What did it feel like to stand at the head of that table?
Great.
But it sounds great.
It was great. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
It was really great. And I, again, was like led by Helen Shaver, who we were both like so jazzed too. Because I think we all got like really attached to her. I mean, I know I'm so attached to her, which sounds like weird and actory to say, but, so it was like great to see and to experience her, especially in that room where so many horrible things were said to her and done to her, in that house too, which is like just a monument to like the terrible things that were done to her. So that always felt good.
Is it an actual house or was it like a built set?
It's a built set.
That's fine.
Yeah, it's a built set.
Yeah, it's a built set.
Yeah,
No,
it's a built set, and it's the most incredible. This is also like I'd have all these moments where I'd be like, oh my God, this is Batman.
Yeah.
Like you would walk through that whole house is a built set, but it is a full house. Yeah. Like you're walking through room to room to room to a functional kitchen. Like it's crazy. It's so cool.
Mm-hmm. The functioning kitchen to cook like the Persian food.
Yep.
It's Clancy.
Yep.
It's grieving.
Yep.
Yeah, I
That's
love that.
like, and it's all, and the detail is so incredible. Like, it's like part of the fabric. That's why those shots are so beautiful and like why it feels so real. Like everything, the art, the photographs that were in the picture frames that you like never even see, the paintings, that were all over the wall. Like even just the fabric choices. Like we had a functioning fireplace that was real. Like it truly was a real house. And then you'd open a door and you'd see someone like eating chips out of a bowl. But like other than that, it was like completely real. Yeah.
Shout out to the production design.
Yeah.
What's really interesting to me about this scene and like the show overall is that both Sofia and Oz have this moment where they're like encouraging their workers and speaking about labor and talking about like we're gonna be the good boss. Mm-hmm. I feel like by the end of that season with Oz, it feels very artificial because of what happens to Vic. Mm-hmm. But I'm curious if you thought that it was real for Sofia, like this, I can help you be more adequately compensated.
Yeah.
Did that feel genuine for her?
I think so, but as a means to an end. Mm-hmm. Like, I think that is genuine because she knows so well what it's like to be overlooked and what it's like to be stepped on and what it's like to be dismissed. I mean, that's like what makes her and Oz actually such good partners is that they both have they've been tossed aside. I mean, obviously, I think her way more than him. But yeah, I think that is genuine. I mean, I think at that point she's like so focused that it's genuine, but it's like she's also like, yes, I will give you what you need, and also like we need to go get this guy. So yeah.
I think that we had 4 clips queued up, but I want us to like talk a little bit more. So I think we're going to skip the 3rd clip, but watch the 4th clip, which is from the finale. It is a scene with you and Colin. It also might have my favorite Sofia outfit. So let's watch that and then talk about it. This is like a 3-minute clip, so it's gonna be a little bit longer. And then we're gonna dive into it. So let's play the last clip.
Oh, you don't want to put your gun to my back? Make a big show of it?
You ain't the type to run.
How's your mom? Has she told you she loves you yet?
Turn around.
You were right. I didn't see you. But she did. She knew it from the very beginning. You have always been a monster.
You're never gonna find peace, you know that? Sick fuck like you. You're going to hell, sweetheart.
I'll save you a seat.
Get her up.
Okay. I am going to say what I think probably a lot of us are thinking, which is just like your face. It's doing so many like nuanced, astonishing things in this scene.
Thank you.
So I am curious if you are okay, if you can tell me what you remember about filming this scene.
Just that, you know, like, this is gonna sound so actory too, but
This is what we're here
I know, but it's like, I just like, sometimes when I read interviews with actors and I'm just like, don't say that. Like, it's like, sounds so like self-important or something. But I will say that like, I have loved playing this character so much. And it's been so like moving in the way that that I've been wanting to do this since I was a kid, and even just feeling like such a connection with Lauren and what she created, and just feeling such a connection to Sofia, and like knowing, I mean, this scene is so brutal.
Yeah.
And like he has found a fate for her worse than death. And so also like knowing how much there's like I don't know how to explain it. I was so sad for her, especially when she gets to like taste this freedom so brilliantly. But it's like a pretty short amount of time because the show only takes place over the course of like 4 weeks, or 6 weeks maybe. Like it's really short that she knows freedom, and knowing like where she's getting sent back to. It just is. It's terrible, and the added layer of like their history.
Yeah.
Of like what a horrible callback that is,
Yeah.
of when he like opens the door for her. And so I just remember being like, wow, this is, obviously like outside of playing her, I was like, this is such a great twist. This is like such a, like, wow, Lauren did such a great job. But inside of playing her, I was like, sucks. Like, this sucks. Like, it's so cruel.
Did you see it as, what I love about that profile shot and like the pan is the implication that she has accepted death. Do you think she would have preferred that to going back to Arkham?
Yeah, I think she would have preferred death for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And then something that I'm curious about is like, you've talked about you and Colin sort of like cracking each other up. Did you guys talk a lot about like how you were approaching scenes? Did you connect in that way at all? Or was it like you're doing your separate processes and then you come together to film?
Yeah, that's like what it felt like, is that like we kind of like did our own thing and then we would come together and sort of like riff off of each other. And he's obviously like such an extraordinary actor, and he's an extraordinary scene partner as well. And so I also always felt very like safe with him too. And I think we both also would understand, like, I don't know how to describe it, but like in that episode, in the scene in the restaurant when I'm torturing him and his mother, Dee Dee, who is just like,
That was the other clip we were going to watch. Whoops.
oh, she's so good. It's crazy. And I've known Dee Dee for a long time, just from like theater in New York. But we all were in our own processes, and you're like really in the scene. Like no one was like in between cracking jokes.
Right.
Like you're very like you're there to figure this out, but there was still like silent support, if that makes sense.
It does.
Yeah.
And I also think something that I didn't think about it that much until I was preparing these clips. And then I was thinking about like Theo Rossi's performance.
Yeah.
As Julian Rush.
Yeah.
And like
So great.
as a Sons of Anarchy girly and like a Emily the Criminal. I was like, oh my, okay, great.
Yeah.
But how was he to work with? How did you guys navigate? Because you're doing these like very physical scenes together. So how did you two find that relationship?
Oh my God. He's another one who I think the first thing we ever filmed together is when he's holding me on the couch and we're like, he's having me like calm down and I'm like fighting against him, but it's also like implied that like there's some other line that's being crossed or something, and that's like such an intense thing to do on your first day together. Like you're like, hi, oh my God, where are you located? Oh, fun. Like, and then like you go like upstairs and like you do this thing. Yeah, he was so game, And that I have to say that everyone on this show was like so incredibly game. All of our actors, all of our directors, all of our crew. Like I think it's everyone wanted to be there, and everyone wanted to like give it their all, and like that was like a very infectious energy. But yeah, Theo just like dove right in, and I think kind of that was the vibe with everyone, is like no one would talk anything too much. We would discuss it in terms of like getting it on its feet and blocking it, but it was kind of like we would find it within the moment. Yeah.
I love when he shows up in Arkham because I'm like, what is the asylum's hiring practice? How is he back? Like, what is happening?
Yeah.
But you said no HR whatsoever
I don't
at the
think
asylum.
there's not a robust HR.
No.
At Arkham.
No. You've said of the ending and Sofia being back, she's powerless in that cell.
Yeah.
And this is me asking you to do some like, hypothetical stuff. But do you feel like there was any way for her to accrue power in Arkham? Because now she has become like more well known, right?
Yeah.
Like she's coming back, I think, in a different way. Or am I like thinking too much about her?
I didn't think about that. I think because I just, in that moment, was trying to like be where she would be, or what I would think, where I'd think what she would be, or whatever. And then the moment of the letter and like what that does. But yeah, I think it would be so. I don't know. I didn't think that far ahead. So
Okay. So maybe that's a way for me to ask you about like a potential season 2. You have said in previous interviews that you hadn't had any conversations with Matt Reeves or Lauren yet. Has that changed at all?
that hasn't changed.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's like embarrassing at this point how much I'm like, I would love nothing more. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I've said it a lot, but like, I obviously would love nothing more.
And sort of a similar question to that is like, we've heard that Colin is going to be in Batman Part 2. Is there anything you can tell us about whether Sofia could be in Batman Part 2?
That's like same.
Okay. I had to try.
No, you had to try it. No,
all wanna know.
for sure. I would really love it, and I haven't heard anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If we could, like right now, think of a Sofia Selena team up storyline, what would be like your wildest dream for the two of them?
I mean, I guess it would be that like she breaks Sofia out somehow.
Also on my notes. Yeah. Breakout.
A breakout.
Yeah.
Because I do want her out of there.
Yeah.
And and then I would have to imagine that like Oz would be cooked.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's say it. Like,
I would love it.
Let's do
like,
it.
Truly would love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also love the idea of not only her breaking you out, but like you jumping on the back of her motorcycle and just
Completely.
like,
Yeah.
leaving town.
Yeah.
Taking a vacation.
Completely.
Yeah. The other questions I want to ask you are sort of about this like future space, but maybe the last thing I want to know is like something that was fascinating to me is Sofia spares Francis, she spares Eve, she spares her little cousin. Did you think of her as like being a feminist? Like in what way did you think of her as thinking about like her own womanhood?
No, I thought of her as being like a creature.
Interesting.
That she's like a, I don't know. Thank you. I also laughed at that the moment that it came out of my mouth. No, I think that the sparing of them has to do with like a villain code of ethics, sort of like Tony Soprano with the Ducks.
Yeah.
Where like this is a man who commits unspeakable atrocities on a daily basis, and yet these ducks are like, I have to help these ducks. And I think with her, there's something with, especially with Gia, with the child, where she's like, she genuinely is like, I'm saving your life. I'm saving your life here. And she says, this is a gift. And like that, I don't think she, and obviously in that scene she also like realizes that she's like become her father and is like sentencing this child to
The
like the same life.
legacy.
Yeah, like it continues. The terrible cycle continues. But I think it's like specifically if she's been wronged.
Yeah.
And if she hasn't, like everyone she kills, it's kind of like all.
Do they deserve it?
Not everyone.
Oh, okay.
I mean, not the kid in the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
But
Whoops.
you do, I know, but you do understand like in that moment, like I think it's all like for a purpose.
Yeah.
And with those three women, I mean, she went there to kill Eve, but then she's like, oh, you've given me information. And then they also have this moment of like really seeing each other. And Sophia's very lonely, you know? And I think, with Eve, she like sees this person who has family and is like, why would I hurt that? I know what that's like to have that be hurt.
Was that Gia scene your favorite to film? Like if you were to choose one specific scene from this whole season. I know, it's hard.
I know, yeah.
But would that be the one, do you
It's
think?
up there.
Yeah.
I think it's still the sort of yellow dress at the table.
Love it.
This isn't one scene, but like kind of that whole sequence of like that through to the skipping through the house. But the Gia scene is like just, one of my favorites. I think it's so beautifully written, and like what Lauren does, the multi layers of that scene, and it's like the only time you see her display tenderness is with that child, and how like but that tenderness is like, it's like hugging a knife. And it is her, I think, genuinely like trying to be tender. And so, yeah, I loved that scene. Yeah.
I think I also had the yellow dress clip, but like we don't have time to watch all the clips because we just watch all the episodes of the show. It was so difficult to pull anything. But the yellow dress is so fun because it's so physical, and it made me think like, should she be in like a kicky musical?
Oh,
Like,
I mean, that's what's so great about that song choice too, that they you know, and we wanted it to be something that could flow over corpses. And could sort of, you could track it almost like, I mean, I don't remember if this was like, but sometimes I was like, oh, it's like an animal's tail or something. And it was a juxtaposition because that dress belongs in like a Bugsby Berkeley movie or something. Like you could see someone like tap dancing in like an old 40s movie or something, which is also just what's so cool about it. To like pair that with a gas mask is just so cool.
it all just feels very Little Mermaid's Ursula for me.
Oh,
right.
That's like one of the highest compliments.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. What a queen.
What a queen. I will sometimes watch. This is like, well, here we are.
Oh, come on. Yeah.
Sometimes my friends and I have like a notes app that we all update with, like, which is like performances that for Courage.
Yeah.
Where there's just things in various movies or television shows where you're like, wow, that person like swung for the fences, and like this is a performance that you can watch to just be like inspired or whatever. And Ursula's Poor Unfortunate Souls is on there, and I have watched that on YouTube in like, you know, various states of wanting to be like, whew, I need to like be inspired somehow. And I know that's a cartoon and it shouldn't apply, but like,
no, it should. It's a
performance
voice acting
is-
performance. It's
Oh
a beautiful work of
my
animation.
God.
I mean, that golden era of
Yeah.
like Disney animation.
Yeah.
Ursula was right.
Ursula was
mean,
right, and she's
you
like
know?
so sultry,
So comfortable in
and
her
fabulous.
body. Yeah, I love
and like
that.
so like when she's like life's full of tough choices, and she isn't it like that? Like it's
There
so.
you
And
go.
she's like doing this.
Okay, so we should get Ursula. Is that the dream role? Should we do?
Well, I think that's been done.
Can we do it again?
I mean, you can do anything you want, I guess.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we gotta
Yeah.
make it, and we gotta
I would
have you in it.
Love to play a sea witch of any kind.
We somehow have only 3.5 minutes left.
Okay.
I don't know how that happened, but I have some like quick hit questions for you.
Sure.
Okay. You've talked about how excited you are for people to dress up as Sofia for Halloween.
Yeah.
What do you think is the one element that someone needs? Like, what's the spirit Halloween Sofia starter
God, I
pack?
would love to see it. Well, as someone who was like obsessed with those they used to be catalogs.
Yeah.
And I would like sit and look through them.
Delia's.
Delia's. It was like a Delia's and like it wasn't a spirit Halloween, but it was something where you could like choose and circle it.
Yeah.
So that would be beyond. I'd be so excited. I mean, I don't know. I guess what you would need is like probably just some like attitude, some like BDE. You know.
Maybe like the gas mask. Maybe the gas mask
for
and like
sure.
a beautiful gown.
Yeah, a
and
gas
just
mask, a beautiful gown.
badass attitude.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, or 3 cigarettes.
For sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. The cultural shorthand, I think, for Sofia's style, I feel like people would think she's like mob wife style, but like she's not a mob wife. Like she's like her own person. So do you have like an idea of what we could call her style that isn't mob wife?
Oh my gosh. No, it's the feral something.
Okay.
Like I don't.
Is it like Fem Fatal more than?
I've never known what that is.
I think she counts.
What is that?
It's like noir, you know, like trench coats, like pencil skirts.
Got it.
Yeah.
But they're like part of the. Are they like helpless?
No.
They're
no,
like
no.
they're coming in there being like, I'll tell you a thing or two about a thing or two. Like
yeah,
that.
Femme
Okay.
Fatale is like bitches be scheming.
Okay. Oh, all right. Yeah.
Compliment.
Yeah. Maybe like a feral fatale or something.
Okay, I love that. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite Colin Farrell performance that isn't the Penguin?
Wow. His performance in Bruges is pretty
Very good.
incredible.
Yeah.
And actually, I just saw Killing of a Sacred Deer
Oh, yeah.
for the first time, which I don't know how that happened because I love Yorgos Lanthimos. And holy mother of God.
I know. Yeah.
What a dark fucking film.
Yeah.
And like also
What
like,
a beard from Colin,
and he's
though.
so brilliant in it, and
Yeah.
everyone's brilliant in it, and the spaghetti eating scene, and yeah, and I was like, I was sick recently, and I watched it. I was like, oh, this will be a good movie to watch when I'm sick, and I was like, whew, It's not, but it was a choice. Yeah.
Is there another Batman villain that you would love to play?
Oh. I don't know why this is the first thing that popped in my mind, so I'm just going to go with it. But Two-Face.
I like that. I could see parts of that, I think, in
Yeah.
your performance. I think that would translate
And
really well.
I think I'm also like now I'm like really interested in prosthetics. Where I'm like, I want to try that.
Yeah.
And he has the cool, and I'm thinking of the like the Joel Schumacher, like the
Yes.
just like the electric
Yes.
hot pink,
Yeah.
like half zebra suit.
When movies had color.
Yeah, when
Yeah.
movies had color.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. Love that. Have you seen any Sofia merch out there in the wild? And if not, what would you like to see? Now, I'll say I've seen bootleg Sofia t-shirts online.
Really?
Yeah, they're like collages and then like Sofia, like your name and like a
Like the kind
Sopranos
that does.
font.
I have this for Tony Soprano's mom.
Yes, they're very
I have
similar
it says
to that.
Livia Soprano, and it's like three different. Like,
Yes,
of her
literally.
being like, I don't want to talk like that, or however she talks. Yeah, I don't like that kind of talk. It's like, yeah, and I have that. It's like one of those.
Yeah, it's
That's
one of
so
those.
cool.
Literally, like, I know you don't like the internet, and
I don't.
I think it's correct to not
Yeah.
like it, but we got you on the merch front. Yeah.
That's so cool. That's genuinely like stunning to me.
good. I'm so
Yeah.
glad. Is there anything else you would want to see, like a Pop Funko or like something else?
I mean, sure. Yeah. The gas mask thing is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like it's just like such a cool and the 3 cigarettes.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe like a fabulous like a high-end jewelry 3 cigarette like hair accessory.
Like a hair fascinator?
Something.
Okay.
Yeah.
I remember candy cigarettes. We should get like Sofia branded
Oh my
candy
God.
cigarettes.
One time when I was like in 8th grade, I got my feelings hurt and I went and bought a pack of candy cigarettes.
Yeah.
And
I mean, what a cool girl. Just being cool.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's how I ended up doing this.
Fine.
Yeah, it's
the
from being
pathway-
cool.
That's the pathway to being an actor.
Exactly. It's just like munching on candy cigarettes. Yeah.
All right, I have two final questions.
Okay.
You spoke with your Palm Springs co-star,
Uh-huh.
Andy Samberg, for interview. You guys talked about singing Shallow together and
Yeah.
how that's like a perfect karaoke pick. Do you think Sofia has a go-to karaoke song?
Oh my gosh. I don't know. I'm sure she would.
Okay. Are there any that you would have liked to perform as Sofia?
No.
Okay.
No, because I weirdly like, unless the character like sings,
Yeah.
I'm always like, she doesn't have to sing. I don't know.
Okay.
That's such a lame answer.
No, it's okay.
Yeah, I could picture her like doing, but something similarly as fabulous.
Okay.
I just can't picture her singing.
That's fine. I mean, again, idea for season 2.
Yeah,
I mean,
I would love it.
and then in the same interview, Andy said you once told him that Beetlejuice was a role you wished that you had played.
Yes.
Do you have like a Beetlejuice impression or voice or anything that you would be willing to share with us?
Well, I was Beetlejuice for Halloween, the Halloween after Catwoman.
Okay.
After Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman. And I love Beetlejuice. My dad and I used to quote, and I'm going to get this quote wrong now because I'm nervous and on a stage.
Yeah.
But we would say the whole like, that's why I don't do 2 shows a night or whatever, like after he like fucks everyone up. Yeah. And then I used to run around the playground, which was not good, saying, nice fucking model, like always, like over and over again. Cause I think I like didn't totally understand what that was. I just like knew that it got a laugh and also like that it was like, yeah, that and had like a sound effect.
Yeah.
So, but I didn't totally get it. But I would,
It's okay.
I would run around saying that.
I like. Is Tim Burton watching? Like, can we get Beetlejuice, and like get you in there?
Oh, but like as what?
I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care. Like, let's just do it.
I mean, I just love. I mean, he's like it's the perfect character because you're like a vaudevillian demon.
Yeah.
So it's like endlessly.
There's so
There's
much
like the sky is the
potential.
limit. Yeah.
Again, Ursula, Beetlejuice.
These are the things I'm drawn to. Yeah, because they're incredible.
They're incredible.
Yeah.
You're incredible. Thank you so
so
much for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for being here for this conversation. I really appreciate it.